from Google. Should we talk to us about the diversification plans that they have for Milan?
Ok. Buongiorno a tutti, sono Florence da Google Olanda. Sono molto contenta di avere questa opportunità per presentare su questo topico. Continuerò questa presentazione in inglese because that's going to be easier for everybody to understand. So, yeah, that's me, that's Florence from the Google peering team based in Holland. And the topic of the day is a Google peering infrastructure diversification plan in Milan. So in this presentation, what I would like to do is to highlight to you the challenges that we've been experiencing in Milan so far, and to tell you briefly what we've done to cope with the situation. But more importantly, what I really would like to achieve is to create a conversation, to have your views, your side of the stories about this, so that we can better understand what your own challenges are and what you do or what you intend to do to cope with the situation and when. So let's get this started. All right, so Google presence in Milan. This is no secret, just check our peering DB records. We are in Milan via Caldera, the Velen Room X next Calibre. And I guess that this is also pretty much where you guys are as well. We have a massive infrastructure in Via Caldera, and when I say massive, I really mean it. So it's about more of 100 more something like 100 plus racks of equipment behind 4 routers, which are spread among 2 buildings. And if there is one thing to remember about our infrastructure in Via Caldera, is that what we are doing is that we have everything is based on 2 separate failure domains, physically and electrically. And actually, this has turned out to be pretty successful so far. We have been experiencing a lot of various operational issues. Just to give you an example, we even got flooded last summer, so we had a couple of racks underwater. Yeah, nice. And actually didn't have so much repercussion of our traffic, so I guess that there is something we're doing good there. Just to say a couple of words about our changes in Milan. I guess that you will recognize some of your own challenges in this slide as well. So first one is that the Velen room is a single point of failure, not only for us Google, but also for the rest of the Italian market. The second one is that we have limited opportunities to grow in the campus. When your equipment is accounting for a little bit more than 400 kilowatt power draw, well, of course it starts to be nice, warm and cozy in there. And the third main changes that we have is that there is, for the moment, no clear center of gravity for another peering alternative, another alternative peering location in Milan. So, last year, ending of this year, we were in a situation where we were quite hopeful about the whole situation, and we were seeing 3 main data centers emerge in Milan and the Milan surroundings. There was SuperNAP in the south, and also Whole Data in the east, and Data4 in the west. Nowadays, SuperNAP is expected to be completed later on in 2017, so we can expect something like Q3. Whole Data, it's more realistic to expect something like Q1 2017, and Data4 is already delivered. Of course, so 3 data centers come with their own set of challenges in terms of peer presence and attractivity, and also connectivity and independence from Via Caldera. So, the main question is or was 2016 the year of peering data center diversification for Milan? And what is the answer? Well, the answer is no. Actually, not so much has changed since the beginning of the year. And I'm sure that you can note some note of disappointment in my voice right now. No major change. So this means that we are basically in the same situation as always, with the same old challenge that there is no alternative data center right now for peering in Milan. Another thing is that there is only one out of the 3 data centers which has been completed so far, and this is no help in the diversification efforts of Google and of other peers, I presume. And the third one is that we are actually concerned that there is that some of the 3 data centers are not going to be completed next year. There are some rumors that some data centers want to stop, that some others want to sell most of their space to enterprise customers. So let's see how those rumors materialize and if they do. And we are all looking forward to seeing how the situation will be mid next year. That will give us a lot of more answers, we hope. Of course, all that has an impact on our diversification efforts and on our scaling effort. So the question is, what is exactly this impact? This impact can mostly be measured in terms of delays. But is the situation really that bad? Well, of course it's annoying. Of course it's disappointing. It's a little bit irritating. I'm doing my grumpy cat now. But it's not that critical actually, because in terms of diversity, it doesn't really change anything for us. We still have our nice setup that seems to work well with the 2 separate failure domains. And what regards scaling, we will be able to have some new tools in Q1 next year to be able to scale better our presence. So what are we up to? For 2017, what we really would like to do is to, well, keep, of course, aware and keep our ears wide open to capture the new signs on the market, the signals on the market in terms of peer preference of data center and data center completion. What we prefer to adopt in terms of attitude is to be neutral and not to express a preference. I think it is important that we keep neutral, especially as a foreign player on the Italian market. So on the short term, what we really would like to do is to have this conversation with you in order to ensure that we have captured what your preferences are, that we understand better what and where you're coming from. On the midterm, our hope is that we can see a clearer preference emerge from all that, which would lead us to a winner, to the most popular site. And hopefully, in 2018, we would be able to delocalize some our infrastructure to there. So, now it is time to move forward with the first step of the strategy, which is to gather your feedback. So please, it's the time for you to have your say. Please tell me now what you would like to do in the future, or tell me later during the coffee break, or you can contact me directly here, peering@google.com. It's also me, or Lavroff@google.com, and we will be able to start this conversation. So please tell me what you would prefer, if SuperNap is the one you prefer, or if actually you consider more staying in Via Caldera campus only for the next 2 years. What regard others, well, I'm really wondering if you would have really some complete different alternative. I hope that I will not read too much Frankfurt in your feedback, although that's a fantastic place to be at. But please, please, please let us know, because the day that we all want to diversify and to do something in Milan, we would like to be ready for you. So please, let's resolve this together. Thank you, and shoot with your questions.
Any question from Florence?
Actually, I have one myself. Why no mentions of Rome? Thank you.
Your question is about Rome?
Yes.
I think it's a very important question here, and this is a question which is recurrent. There are different players on the market which are also raising their voice as regards Rome. Rome is also a very important place, and we see some eyeballs, so we actually think that it also makes sense that we strengthen our position in Rome. However, Milan is Milan, and the Milan problems need to be resolved as well. So what we consider here is that we have two different conversations. One with Milan, where there is also lots of eyeballs, which is very international and which is driving a lot of traffic and will continue to do so in the future. So what we would like to do is to first, as a matter of priority, resolve the Milan situation. And in parallel to that, we are more than happy to also investigate how we can strengthen our presence in Rome, which is for the moment a public peering present at the Namex exchange as per our peering DB records.
Hi. The question is not necessarily Italy specific, but more of an East Southern Europe context. As it currently stands, a lot of the traffic between networks from the south and west-east, or west and east, goes through Frankfurt. For instance, if I look at my own connectivity, we have POP in Milan, but it's based out of Frankfurt essentially. What do you envision from a diversity perspective would be the best candidate for a Frankfurt replacement?
I guess that this is exactly the situation where we are in. We absolutely need to find an alternative for Milan, and really our preference is to have another candidate within the Milan metro. You're right, so the problem that we have here is not only for Italy. Frankfurt is very attractive to a lot of other markets, but I think that what is very particular with the Italian situation and the Milan situation in particular is that there is really only one and single big one in Milan, and this is where we really would like to have diversity. It would be really good that the Italian traffic remains in Italy, possibly served from other imported metros where there are a lot of eyeballs in Italy, and not get served too much from foreign metros like Frankfurt or else.
Thank you.
So let's see, 2017 is going to be a great year. And Fabio. Or I can jump to you, no matter. I'll certainly do that. Okay.
I would like to point out that it's very important not only to find another site in Milano, but please have in mind that even at the moment, even if you find another site in Milano to host your REX, from transmission point of view, 90% of the traffic will flow through Caldera. So it's a false diversification, because it won't protect you and anybody else from any Caldera failure. So I come back to the last question. It's important to diversify in Rome, but also to diversify the circuits, the capacity links to Milano, between Milano and to Rome, and from Roma. So it would be very important to upgrade the Marseille point of presence, and upgrade also the transmission path from Marseille to Roma, and from rest of the Europe to Milano, is bypassing Milano Caldera. And that's very important, that's very difficult, because in any case, at the moment, if you take 80% of the capacity used in Milano flows through Switzerland, through the same part of Switzerland through Milano Caldera. So again, I understand the difficulty of finding a right solution for this problem, but it's a non-solution just to diversify with another data center. That's not the solution for the moment, because for the following 3-4 years, at least 2 years, most of the capacity will flow through Milano Caldera, and that's it.
Well, I think that this is a very correct, valid point. Fabio, thanks for raising it. And the thing is that we all want the same thing. We all want to have real diversity away from a single point in the Milan metro. And actually, I think that this is what is going to happen on day one, the day that there will be another data centers. Well, of course, that is not going to be a real dramatic change, and a lot of traffic is continuing to flow back to Via Caldera. But because there will be more of us in the house, and because we all work towards the same motivation, it is to be expected that with the years to come, hopefully not too many years, we will reach this ideal of having more diversification also on the wave and backhaul perspective in the metro. It is a matter of time.
Good morning, Valeria Rossi from Milano Caldera. One of the well, I would like to say that I'm not the owner of Caldera. I'm just our equipment within Caldera. I'm very sorry to hear that Caldera in this, in this presentation, and also in what Fabio said just a few minutes ago. It seems that Caldera is a point. Caldera is a campus. Avalon is one room within the campus with big problems, and unfortunately Google chose Avalon to install their equipment. But each data center in Caldera is completely independent, each from the other one, as from the electrical point of view, as well from the infrastructure. The operators are within Avalon, of course. That is perhaps the most the place where there are the most concentration of operators, but the same operators are well distributed within the campus. Now, Caldera needs to be backupped, and Milano need of it. And I'm very, very happy to hear that there are new initiatives like SuperNAP or Data4, or perhaps Whole Data or others. There is ITNOG2, I remember you. Completely in different parts of Milano, very, very far away from Caldera. For Mix, this is very important, and I think also for other people interested in Milano. Milano is the main pole of telecommunication in Italy, and we must make it stronger to make Italy more stronger. If Google decides to go in Rome, good, it's very, very good, or everywhere. But be careful in passing the message that Caldera is not reliable, because this is not true. So Google can do its own choices. I'm very happy for this. Mix is doing, for example, in my case, our own choices, but it's very important that the world doesn't think that Caldera is Avalon. This is not true.
I agree that this is a very sensitive message to pass over, and I'm sorry if I interrupted you. If you wanted to continue with this point, the message that I really wanted to give in this presentation is that at the time that we decided to come to this particular site, things were the way they are, and it can very well be that a lot of things has changed so far. The main message that I wanted to bring this presentation is following. We are aware that there are a lot of operational issues, and the way that we have managed to build our infrastructure around it has brought us to a position where actually we have managed to do pretty well. And based on that, I think that yes, we are able to provide reliable service there, and everybody is also free to do and to bring up the architecture that they think is the best for them according to what they can do in there, of course.
Anybody else?
And I would like to add to that that to me this conversation in no way strikes me as an attack at a single supplier. To me this is a sign of a market that is growing up, that is becoming more mature. If I look at Amsterdam, we started 20 years ago or so with only a handful of data centers, and there's now 15 very high quality data centers run by different brands, and they have their various interconnection models and agreements with each other. And I would argue that is a fantastic place to be. Competition brings the best out of people. It reduces pricing and it improves quality. And that, I think, for an internet community such as ourselves is a key element. So thank you for bringing up the topic, and this is not an attack. This is growing up.
Okay, that's it. No further question? No tomatoes? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So